seal it. You're making it brighter right through the gray.
Good morning. It's my first day in Bulgaria's capital, Sofia. The Rila Hotel, which is where I'm staying, is behind me, but I'm heading into the city centre to do some exploring. I'm now standing in a square that used to be called Lenin Square during the communist era. It's now called Independence Square and also referred to as the Triangle of Power, because the three buildings that are in this square. So if we look at what we've got, on the left there is the Prime Minister's office. On the right is the President's office, and then the building right at the top there, previously the Communist Party's headquarters, is now a concert hall. And in just a couple of minutes I'm going to head underneath street level, because there is a lot of excavating going on in this area, just like in Plovdiv. Everywhere you dig in this city you find something. So down there is a Roman site of ruins that is currently being excavated, and back 2,000 years ago that would have been street level, but rather than knocking places down and removing them over the course of 1,000 years or 2,000 years, things were knocked down and then rebuilt on top of the foundations and ruins. So that would have been street level during Roman times. During medieval times, this church here, St George's Church, with 1 metre thick stone walls, would have been street level. And then today, maybe 500-600 years later, this is street level. I'm now down in that Roman excavated site that's called Serdica. And the way this was found was the Bulgarians went to build a metro station in 2010, and they discovered a whole load of these ruins. Some of them have been put behind glass to preserve them during the harsh winters out here. Apparently in 2017 temperatures got down to -25 in the winter, so the idea was to try and preserve them the best they could. So I'm now in one of the what would have been houses of the site. Apparently these channels would have been filled with hot mineral water from the springs nearby in order to provide the house with underfloor heating. How incredible is that? So not only are they excavating, but they're also restoring. So if you see these little red lines, that indicates that above those lines are the restored stones, and below the red lines are the original brickwork and stones of the site. So just imagine digging down to build a metro station and finding all of these foundations, many of them in really good condition. This was the main street connecting up the north and the south of Serdica. This is the remains of a Roman bath system. There is channels to get hot water in, and perhaps even more remarkably, a sewage system which comes underneath here and goes down into the ground. So if you head down towards the metro station itself, you are going to see an even larger display of Roman ruins. Have a look at this. Wow. Look at this. Let's go and do a bit of exploring. Definitely one of the most unique underground stations I've ever seen. Okay, my next stop I think is going to be the office of the President of the country. So there is the Communist Party headquarters building that I showed on the video a little earlier. On the top, the Bulgarian flag. During communist times, that was a red star up there. So I'm just outside now the presidential building. This building here, first of all though, was previously a mosque. It's now a museum. And then as I turn around, this is the entrance to the presidential building that I was referring to. You can see the guards outside. Bit of luck here, I think I've struck upon the changing of the guards. Just passing through the grounds of the presidential office, and it comes out into this courtyard where you'll find the oldest building in the city. So this was a public building built by the Romans in the 4th century and turned into a church shortly after. It was used as a mosque during the Ottoman period, and now it is a church once again. And one interesting note, there are frescoes inside that date back to the 10th century, but while the Ottomans were here they painted over them, and the frescoes have only recently been restored. Over the 500 years of Ottoman rule here in Bulgaria, they built quite a few mosques, but only one of them still functions today as a mosque, and that's the Banya Bashi mosque behind me. There it is. More ruins just at the foot of the mosque. Now as I turn around, you'll see the former baths of the city, now a museum. So as said, originally the baths of the city were in this building until about the 60s, 70s, where people started getting baths and toilet rooms at home. But the beauty about this site is that it's built on thermal springs, and the springs are always at a temperature of about 37 degrees. So if we look here, this is natural spring water and it is hot. Straight ahead is the Ivan Vazov Theatre, or the National Theatre building of Bulgaria. Ivan Vazov was a famous playwright and poet, and as a tribute to him they named this theatre building after him. Now on my way to my final stop of the day, the Alexander Nevsky Cathedral, which was built in the early part of the 20th century and was built to commemorate the 200,000 soldiers from Russia, Ukraine, Belarus and Bulgaria who died liberating Bulgaria in the Russo-Turkish War. So I'm now just passing St. Sofia's Church, and this church is where the city got its name. There we go. And it's pretty close as well to my final stop. Quite an incredible building, lit up nicely in the late afternoon sunlight. I'm going to try and get inside now, and I think I'm going to end the video here because tomorrow I'm heading to the Vitosha mountain range, and in particular the Banya waterfall. So I'm heading back to the hotel after I've had dinner to go and do some planning for that, and get up early tomorrow morning to get up to the mountains to start the hike. So let me go and see what's like actually inside the cathedral. Good night.